you know, you are a very highly motivated person, and obviously anybody that's around you for very long can tell that. But
some days,
a lot of people really aren't. I think, but you know, a lot of people, they think if they got a job and they're getting by, that's good enough. But then they kind of wonder why they're miserable. You know, there's like they don't even. They don't seem to have the motivation. So what, I guess maybe there's a way.
Here's the deal.
How can somebody motivate themselves?
Here's the deal. In life, we have a choice to live or die.
Yeah.
We can live and enjoy each day and try to find a way to be passionate about each day, or we can stumble through and die.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to live every day until we die, or we're just going to die slowly and progressively.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, you know, when you look at it abstractly, that, you know, is what's going on.
So you got to make a choice.
Yeah. Now, to go back to the reasons why, which I think is more pertinent to what you're saying, many people find themselves stuck in that spot where they're making enough money to get by, and you know, maybe they have kids, maybe not, I don't know, but you know, they've got these challenges and things, and they're looking at it, they really hate what they're doing, and it's driving them crazy. They've got high blood pressure, they're getting fat, they don't exercise, they, you know, they work, they come home, they stumble through supper, maybe they talk to the kids for a little bit, maybe they don't, and they watch TV or they go online for a couple hours and they go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then they rinse and repeat that whole cycle. When you have been in the midst of something that you hate for so long, it's going to make you feel like that. I really think the key to much, not all of course, but much of human enjoyment, much of human pleasure in living has to do with finding something to do day in and day out that you really enjoy doing. So to anybody who's stuck in that spot, I would ask them that question. You know, what would you do if money and skills and degrees weren't an issue? What would you do? Would you sit down and write a book? You know, would you sit on the beach? You know, would you play tennis every day? Would you go and volunteer at your kid's school at the with the PE teacher and you know help them get fun and exercise together? What would you do? Now, if your answer is something like, "Well, I just go sit on the beach and you know veg," ask yourself, what would you do after you were done vegging? Well, here's a good example. There's a story of an Eastern businessman, a Western businessman, and an Eastern Zen monk. And the businessman says, "Don't just sit there." The Zen monk is meditating. And the businessman says, "Don't just sit there, do something." And the Zen monk looks at the businessman and says, "Don't just do something, sit there." The point is, you need to spend some time contemplating. You need to have the time. For some people it's alone, for some people it isn't. But you need to have the time to kind of reconnect with yourself. If you're feeling that way and that totally frustrated with life, then you've got to find a way to reconnect with yourself. And that means doing stuff that you enjoy. It may not be big enjoyment, it may be little enjoyment, like taking a walk, deciding you're going to take a walk outside for 15 minutes every 3 days, or every other day, or whatever. You get a little motion, you feel a little better afterwards. Obviously, it's good for your health, but that motion gets the brain, in motion. And that person who just wants to stumble through, probably just wants to stumble through because they've given up.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's what I see in some people.
They can find a way to take a small step. In the small step, they can see that another small step can be taken. And you start adding small step on top of small step, and you have big accomplishment after a while. So that's my thought on it.
Cool.